Welcome our viewers. Again, we are students from Uganda Management Institute, Distance Learning Program 2019-22 class, and we are doing a diploma in project planning and management. We are back again discussing and focusing on project procurement and management. Is going to be our mode of discussion, and our lecturers are Dr. Alex Nduhura and Mr. Fred Ntambi. Below to your screen are the members of the group: Opio Martin, Isaac Mgendawala, Sarah Pio, Afoyoroth, Judith. And so we will look at the task before us. Our question was to identify and discuss the roles and responsibilities of user departments in contract management cycle. We will start by giving you introduction, key terms and definitions. We will look at the roles and responsibilities. We will discuss briefly challenges and possible solutions within the same responsibilities. And finally, we'll give you a conclusion. Let us start with our introduction by defining the key terms. Contract management refers to the process of ensuring that parties to the contract fully meet their respective obligations in and or efficiently and effectively deliver the objective required from either parties in the contract. The other term is about the user departments. These refer to sections of an organization that initiate the procurement and disposal process. They vary depending on an organization. They can fall under the sections of finance, ICT, management, maintenance, depending on how the organization is structured. Therefore, we will look at the roles and responsibility of user departments. So I would invite our colleague, Sarah, to carry on.
Thank you so much, Tim. As introduced, welcome. I shall be presenting point 1 and 2 in relation to contracts management, responsibilities, and their roles as per the procurement process. Our first point to begin with is selection of contract service providers. Now, we realize that when the bidding process is done, when the bidding process is out there, and then bids are invited, different suppliers for different purposes, for different reasons definitely will apply. But of course, internally, the terms of reference apply. There should be specifications that at times is commonly termed as specs of works that should actually the bidders should be able to comply with. So just to make clarity into selection of a contract service provider, it's very, very important to ensure that it should be the best bid, and should also be able to consider the financial and the technical suitability. We should also be able to consider the attached documents, because there are quite a number of documents, especially relating to previous works of that particular contractor, are very important to give us an informed decision. And of course, this is basically not a one-man's show. It's basically something that is done by a committee. We may have the chairperson of the committee, the secretary of the committee, and then 3 other members that will decide on the process of selection of a contract service provider. However, only service providers that have gone through the relevant stages will be required to move up to the point of selection. The other service providers that have not gone through the process successfully definitely will be notified, and they will get back the system, and those that have been able to successfully comply will be selected. I want to make reference to our second point, that is payment approvals. Like I said earlier on, of course, there is a give and take. When there is an offer, there is an acceptance. So upon acceptance of all the terms in the reference documents, then payments will be made. But of course, payments vary. Some payments are done in US dollars, some payments are done in Uganda shillings. Some people may prefer checks, while others may prefer cash. But it's very important that the payment should actually comply to the budget lines that have been approved, and the money should be readily available on the project account, on on the local government account to be able to kickstart the process of a provision of that particular contract item. So payments also, it's very important that the payments are usually done in relation to the certificates of compliances that have also been attached. For example, into the service provider's account, the account should be the names of the service provider, and also the nature or the currency should be very, very clear and specified. But it's important to note as I wind up that there are service providers that have already been blacklisted in the common market. So it's very, very good to also have that background check to ensure that you're not defrauded or dealing with a non-existent contract. So those are just a few points that I would want to highlight as I hand over to one of my colleagues in the team. Over to you, Isaac. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I will continue straight away to point number 3, where we have contract records management. Basically, taking a guide according to the PPDA Act, all projects that have documents, these documents must at least last for not less than 7 years. So basically, one of my colleagues has been talking about payments. For example, now these invoices that they have used to probably pay the contractor, to pay for other services, all these are part of the documents that the user department members must keep. These documents may be referred to in the future projects. For example, if you take an example of a local government, they may have a project of maybe building a hospital in a certain location. So in future, they may have the same kind of project, but in a different location, and they would really need to refer to these documents or to these records for the previous project so that they can know how and under which limits was this project taken on. Moving on to point number 4, that is monitoring and evaluation. All projects must be monitored and evaluated so that the user department members can really have the value for the money they are putting in. You find that this kind of monitoring and evaluation can be done in different ways. For example, if to take an example of construction industry, this monitoring and evaluation can be done through the site meetings, that is the monthly progress reports, and probably they can also be done in the kind of tests we do. For example, the material tests and maybe the finished section or tests. Moving on to point number 5, where we have contract amendments. In most cases, if you are to look at these contracts, for example, if one decided to make a procurement of a certain kind of car, let us say a Mercedes-Benz for maybe local government users, and these key specifications have been given, whereby we have AC. For example, somebody may talk about under the specification that maybe the cow's car must have a small refrigerator in it. So probably when you look at these specification, you may find that some of them, if you are to look around Uganda, they may not really be achieved. So this may call for a contract amendment, whereby the two parties will have to sit and probably maybe revise the specifications, or they may look at the instance if there is a variation in the market prices. So this has to be recorded in the contract amendment so that both parties are satisfied with the product they are going to deliver. Thank you very much. Allow me to hand over to Judith.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm taking up from point number 5 and number 7. Point number 5, it says contracts, carry out contract termination. This is the act of discharging the parties from their unperformed obligations required by the contract, their duty to perform these obligations in case to exist. Point number 7, report any departure from the terms and conditions of the contract. In most cases, the contractors deviated from the accepted terms and conditions or specification with the aim of maximizing profits. It's therefore the role of the user department is to make sure oh, sorry. I think this is the last point. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Ruth. Surely, as Ruth has been sharing, talking about the terms, the conditions of the contract that need to be observed and followed as stated. These are very important areas that must be focused on. So our point number 8 is to do with invoice verification and clarification. As we all know that contracts involve so many sections and many things keep rising up. So they keep on sending invoices. So it's important to ascertain the originality, the authenticity. Is it original? Is it the right invoice? Are they the right amounts? Are they the things that are needed? Are they the right specification? Are everything involved or captured in the invoice part of the things that are needed for that particular contract or otherwise? So it's important to do the verification, and all this happens at the user department level. Therefore, we will go to our conclusion so that we can summarize what we have been discussing. The nature of contracts require user departments to handle sections of the contract from preparation, selection, bidding, monitoring and evaluation. You talk about the administration, the legal aspects to matter. And therefore, these user departments are fundamental in making sure that these contracts are a success. It's also important to be reminded that these come in handy to make sure that these contracts are on track, but they're also following the laws of the land, like the PPDA Act and any other specification that might have been agreed or stated in the contract at hand. So therefore, friends, that is our presentation concerning the roles and responsibilities of user departments in contract management. You can read further from the references on your screen, and we'll be able to get more understanding over the same. Thank you very much for doing and listening to us. Blessings.
Thank you very much.